Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And starting this review off, and Monday Night Raw is still on, right over there. Randy Orton ended up beating the Big Show in that unsanctioned match. It looks like Randy Orton just punted the Big Show. Clearly, I want to jump on and get this review over with because I did not give a shit about this match against Orton and the Big Show. Did not even give a shit. The match was boring. But this show is the Monday Night Raw after Extreme Rules, the horror show, which I did not review last night. I was at work. I heard the show was a piece of shit. Rey Mysterio losing his other eye. Why am I not surprised to hear that? So, I mean, Rey Mysterio, he's not under a WWE contract, so that is why I guess he lost the match last night against Seth Rollins. You had Sasha with the Raw Women's Championship. Apparently, Asuka ended up blinding the referee with the green mist. Bayley ended up coming in, put on the referee shirt, and then just did the 1, 2, 3 to Sasha. And then Sasha takes the Raw Women's Championship. So, which I will explain later on that whole situation, because there was something that came up on Monday Night Raw last night and involved a authority figure. So I will get to explain that. What else? Cesaro and Nakamura winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'm like, okay. And then the Swamp match between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Heard it was, And then the Fiend ended up coming out at the end, which that gets you guys, for SummerSlam. We're going to be seeing Braun Strowman versus the Fiend at SummerSlam. So WWE did like a little bridge here where Braun Strowman had to go through Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt at Money in the Bank. He went through the old school Bray Wyatt, the Buzzards Bray Wyatt, last night at Extreme Rules, the horror show. And clearly now Braun Strowman has to go through the Fiend at SummerSlam. So WWE set up a bridge there. The match was only done last night just to get Braun Strowman to facing the Fiend at SummerSlam. But let's move on to Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw tonight was just a very show tonight. There were some matches that I enjoyed. And everything else was just, okay, meh, in my opinion. But let's start with the review. Jump right into the review. So, apparently, Monday Night Raw, as like before the show, I guess was taped, there was a report that came out that Raw was being rewritten. It was announced earlier in the day. The tape-ins got delayed. This was according to WrestlingNews.co. It said that WWE is slated to hold TV tape-ins this week from, of course, the Performance Center. The company was going to tape 2 episodes of Monday Night Raw. One was the show tonight, and of course the show for next week. It said, however, the start of the tapings has been delayed, according to PW Insider. It said that the tapings were supposed to begin at 1, but WWE didn't start the taping on time. And the reason is because it was due to the scripts of both shows, the Monday Night Raw shows that we saw tonight, and I guess the one that we're going to be seeing next week, had to be rewritten. Because, of course, Vince changed his mind about the original plans for the show. This is not the first time we heard about Vince tearing up the script and, rewriting the whole script to the show, whether it be Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Vince has done this before. This is typical Vince McMahon. So, but it says they were changing the script for these shows. Is likely why WWE has only announced one match for Raw tonight, and that was Randy Orton versus Big Show in the Unsanctioned Match. So, but that was the report. So, of course, like I said, typical Vince McMahon, just not liking the original script, tearing it up, rewriting the whole script from beginning to end. And there was times where I read reports that the script wasn't finalized, like for Monday Night Raw, like back, like last year, that scripts were being written when the show was live. It's typical Vince. Typical senile old Vince. So, but Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Seth Rollins and Murphy. They ended up coming out, and Rollins ended up taking the mic. The NXT stars and future developments in the crowd were chanting shame at Seth Rollins. And Rollins ended up naming the injury Ray suffered on, last night at Extreme Rules, the horror show, a globe luxation. So he went on about the stipulation and him having to remove Rey Mysterio's eye from its socket in order for him to get the win. He ended up saying that what happened, the visual, will stay with him for the rest of his life. And also, I saw the clip of Rollins spinning up, throwing up after the eye, after him, socking Ray's eye on the ring steps. I'm like, was that really needed? Did we really need to see Seth Rollins puke after he did what he did? But he ended up saying that this is affecting, Rollins ended up saying that this is affecting him as well. He ended up saying that the image will stay with him in his memories forever. He ended up calling the situation disgusting and violent and barbaric. And it was more than he expected. Rollins ended up claiming that it made him sick to his stomach, figuratively and literally. Of course, we saw you puking in that clip, from last night. So Rollins ended up saying he has been asked if he regrets what happened. He ended up saying that, he doesn't mean to be obtuse, but he has to answer a question with a question. Does the WWE Universe regret what they've done to him? So Rollins ended up going on about how this wasn't his decision and that the WWE Universe made him into what he is, and that is the Monday Night Messiah. So Rollins ended up saying that we can't dwell on the past. He ended up saying that the beauty of this is now that Rey is out of sight and Monday Night Raw is free to fulfill its potential. And once again, Seth Rollins goes on to say, it's the greater good of Monday Night Raw. And I'm still trying to figure out what the greater good of Monday Night Raw is. He said the greater good of Monday Night Raw can happen, will happen. And there's nobody left to stand in the way of the greater good. And I said it before. What is the greater good? What is it? It's not fully explained. So then out came Aleister Black. Aleister ended up speaking from the stage, and he ended up saying that Seth Rollins orchestrated all of this, and that this is all on his hands. Aleister Black ended up saying that he is here to rectify all this. So he ended up dropping the mic, and Murphy ended up coming to attack Aleister. Aleister ended up dropping Murphy on the ramp. Murphy ended up coming back. He ended up pulling Black from the ring. They ended up brawling, both Black and Murphy. Black then unloaded on Murphy and sent Murphy into the plexiglass several times. And we had Aleister Black end up destroying Murphy, launched him over the announce table for another pop from the crowd. So Black ended up hitting the ring, and Seth Rollins then retreated to the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then we had Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. Pretty decent match from both Rollins and Aleister Black. There were points where Murphy got involved, and Black ended up delivering a black mass to Murphy, a perfect black mass to Murphy. So the end of the match, Seth Rollins ended up winning, ended up delivering the stomp to Aleister Black, and he went over, made the pin. There you go. Seth Rollins ended up winning the match. Post-match, we had Murphy ended up joining Seth Rollins in the ring. Aleister Black was still down. Rollins and Murphy ended up going up the ramp. Rollins then turned and looked back at the referee who was checking on Aleister Black. And so Seth Rollins then ordered Murphy to hit the ring and attack Aleister Black, when he was still down. So Murphy then ended up hitting the ring, ended up attacking Aleister Black. Seth Rollins got in, and so he had a double team from Seth Rollins and Murphy. They ended up attacking Aleister Black. They ended up bringing Black out to the floor, launched him into the barricade. Rollins then ended up taunting Aleister Black, and Murphy was holding him next to the ring post. Rollins was yelling in Black's face, and Black was down on the ground. While this was before Seth Rollins was working on Black's arm. So Black was down on the ground, and Rollins then ends up slamming Black's arm into the top of the announce table. So Murphy and Rollins then end up taking the top off the announce table. They end up dropping the top of the announce table on Aleister Black. So Murphy still holds Black down. Aleister Black's arm is injured. His injured arm was on top of the announce table, like the top of the announce table. Rollins then ended up taunting Black, asked him where his friends are now, and who's here to save you. So Rollins then delivered a stomp to Aleister Black's arm, and Murphy was still holding on to Aleister's arm on the announce table top, and Aleister Black was screaming in pain, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, decent match between Seth Rollins and Aleister Black. It wasn't a bad match. Oh boy! And then we had MVP and Lashley backstage, and Ron Simmons, WWE Hall of Famer Ron Simmons, made an appearance tonight, which it was cool to see Ron Simmons. I like to see him there. So Ron Simmons ended up saying that he knows MVP and Bobby Lashley are going to do things their way, but he wants them to know that there is a better way. So Ron Simmons ended up walking off. R-Truth, the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 champion, ended up coming up. He ends up telling MVP that he has a nice looking replica title belt around his waist. And last night at Extreme Rules, the horror show, MVP declared himself to be the new United States champion by forfeit because Apollo Crews was unable to compete. And they said due to a back injury. Well, apparently, that wasn't the case. Yes, it was a back injury that was announced on TV, but apparently Apollo Crews was tested positive for COVID. So that's why he wasn't on the pay-per-view last night. He was tested for COVID. Hope he feels better. He gets through that. But it's a shame. But hope Apollo Crews gets well soon and he's back on TV soon. So then we had R-Truth ends up turning around to Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin ends up knocking out R-Truth. A referee comes. Shelton covers R-Truth. There you go. Shelton Benjamin is the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 champion. Whatever. This title needs to stay the fuck off of TV. How many times do I have to say it? This title is garbage. So then we had Shelton end up standing with the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. MVP ended up asking him if he'd like to go to the ring with him and Bobby Lashley. And Shelton was like, absolutely. So they end up going out to the ring. So then MVP and Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin were in the ring. They were talking about Extreme Rules. MVP ends up mocking Apollo Crews for staying home, nursing his wounds, instead of being, the fighting champion he said he'd be. So then we had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander come out, and they end up saying, two-headed kids who don't listen, and they're going to celebrate their new gold. So Cedric ends up running MVP down, says he was relevant back in 2006, and they end up going on about how MVP and his crew are being pathetic and a bunch of chumps. Cedric ended up saying that they have been champions in WWE before and will become champions again. And MVP ends up saying that he sees the Hurt Business when he looks at the trio in the ring. Sorry about that, but I was saying MVP ended up saying that he sees the Hurt Business when he looks at the trio in the ring. But he sees little kids who should be at catering when he looks at Cedric and Ricochet. That's probably a Vince McMahon written thing there. I can tell you that. So MVP ends up saying that since their buddy Apollo Crews didn't show up, he will allow them to pick any combination to face in tag team action. And Cedric ends up saying they do have someone to team with tonight. And he was returning to Monday Night Raw. And so Ricochet ends up introducing Mustafa Ali. Holy shit, Mustafa Ali is back on TV. Bruce finally found Mustafa Ali and put him back on TV. I can't remember how many months Mustafa Ali was out. Apparently, a lot of people were saying, he was he was the hacker guy on SmackDown, so they're not even using the hacker storyline anymore. And who could be that hacker on SmackDown? WWE just completely dropped that. So and that was interesting. That was interesting with this hacker thing that they were doing on SmackDown. Apparently, that's probably all thrown out the window right now. That's thrown out the window. So, but Lashley ended up charging the ramp, and Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, and Cedric end up fighting him off. They end up sending MVP and Shelton Benjamin retreating out of the ring. And so we got a six-man tag. MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin versus Mustafa Ali, Cedric, Alexandra, and Ricochet. Not a bad six-man tag. It was entertaining because, I like seeing Mustafa Ali back. It's been months, feels like forever since we last saw Mustafa Ali. But Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet end up getting the win. Mustafa Ali hit the 450 on MVP, and that was that. So we also saw Christian. He was talking with Samoa Joe. Christian was on like Skype or Zoom with Samoa Joe, and we got that. Christian ended up saying that he can't wait to watch the Big Show destroy Randy Orton later. Then we had Peyton Royce versus Ruby Riott. Meh match. Easy win for Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott got the win with the Riott kick to Peyton Royce. And that was that. And at least we saw Bianca Belair tonight. So that was cool. And Billie Kay wasn't here tonight. It was just only Peyton Royce. So no Billie Kay. Then we had the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade, which this match should have been held off until SummerSlam. This would have been a good match to put on the SummerSlam card. But, they had to put it on Raw tonight. WWE, they don't like to give us, like good matches and hold off matches until a big pay-per-view. They're just like, oh yeah, this could be pay-per-view quality, a pay-per-view quality match, but no, let's not put it on the pay-per-view. Let's put it on a random Monday Night Raw. So, but the match itself, it was pretty entertaining, and it was back and forth between the Profits and Garza and Andrade. The Profits got the win. Montez Ford ended up delivering a frog splash to Angel Garza. There you go. Street Profits end up winning. And so that was that. Then we saw Sasha and Bayley. They were in the ring. And Asuka and Kairi Sane end up coming out. Asuka was yelling from the stage in Japanese. And Stephanie McMahon made an appearance on the big screen, which it was cool to see Stephanie, a authority figure appear on the screen. And Stephanie ended up congratulating everybody. She ended up saying that last night's match actually was a horror show. So Stephanie ended up saying that Sasha might think she's the Raw Women's Champion, but she has a different opinion. Stephanie ended up saying that Sasha didn't win last night, and neither did Asuka. So Stephanie then announced a match next week, and the Raw Women's Championship is going to be on the line to determine the champion. She ended up saying that they can lose by any normal method, by pinfall, DQ, countout, or interference. And she ended up wishing both Sasha and Asuka, good luck for next week. So we're going to get that match next week. So And then we had Bayley versus Kairi Sane. Apparently, this was rumored to be Kairi Sane's final farewell match in WWE. I don't know if that's the case. I've heard rumors about it. But match was, in my opinion, there was a point where Shayna Baszler was watching the match backstage, and Charlie Caruso ended up coming up to her, and she ended up asking Shayna if she has an interest in this match. Baszler ended up saying that she's being everyone out there, and she still doesn't have a match. She ended up telling Charlie, "What do you want her to do? Sit in catering?" She ended up saying that nobody deserves the spotlight more than she does. She ended up saying, yes, she does have a vested interest in this match. The same way a shark has a vested interest anytime it sees prey in the water. And so Shayna Baszler ended up watching the match from backstage, ended up going back to watch the match. Kairi Sane ended up winning the match, and Bayley was going for the Bayley to belly, but Kairi Sane ended up blocking it, rolled Bayley up, and there you go. Kairi Sane ended up winning the match, and there you go. And that was that. So then Drew McIntyre came out. He ended up taking a shot at Dolph Ziggler, saying that his Extreme Rules stipulation was brilliant. And he said, but that's over, as in Dolph's career. So then, later on in the segment, we're now getting a Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler rematch. And now McIntyre is going to pick the stipulation for that match. So we're going to be seeing that next week on Monday Night Raw. And then we had the Unsanctioned Match, Big Show versus Randy Orton. I said at the beginning of the video, who won the match, so I'm not going to get into it. But that was Monday Night Raw tonight. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until the next video, I'll see you all later.